thank you so much for having me here today. This is a huge opportunity for our children. 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with a tumor in my thyroid. As a result, I started researching into all the possible causes, including reading all the research on wireless radiation. And one of the things I found was just similar to what Dr. Otis Brawley, Chief Medical Officer of the American Cancer Society, recently commented in a press release that what they found was the higher the dose, the larger the effect. I reduced my exposure to wireless in my home to reduce my risk and that to my family. Unfortunately, while I was trying to reduce my wireless exposure in my home, MCPS schools embarked on a massive effort to increase the wireless radiation in the schools. This undertaking was taken in preparation for the park exam, but without regard to the health effects that this technology may have on our children. Our chief technology officer said that this was not going to be your Starbucks router. It was going to be robust, and he wasn't kidding. I just measured my 5th grader's classroom at back to school night, and the peak measurement is hundreds of times stronger than at Starbucks. I know Wi-Fi is everywhere, but when the classroom is hundreds of times stronger with the Chromebooks not even in use, and just to add that the Chromebooks, when transmitting and downloading, if you measure it, will be very similar to a cell phone. But aside from that, this was not even with the Chromebooks being on. This was just the Wi-Fi. There's a legitimate concern. Turning the Wi-Fi off when not needed would minimize the health risks in the classroom at a minimum. Of course, wired is fast, but just that simple step of turning the Wi-Fi off when not needed would go a long way. Retrofitting and putting in switches to turn Wi-Fi on and off or giving the teacher a remote is not only doable and achievable, but the right thing to do. Let's not leave it up to our kids to tell us something is wrong. I don't think a child should have to connect headaches, dizziness, heart palpitations, poor sleep and grades to excessive Wi-Fi in the classroom. And additionally, I'd just like to add, not only should they not have to tell us something's wrong, but it's been over 2 years now where I've been talking to the Board of E and asking that the kids not be placed directly under the routers. And I spoke to the superintendent. I mean, it's just so strange that they would think, and unfair and cruel to children whose parents don't know that a child might not even touch a Chromebook for the entire year, yet they are sitting, and the ceilings are not high like this. They are just going to school sitting directly under unshielded microwave radiation without the parents having a clue, without the teachers having a clue. I've seen pregnant teachers teaching right under the access points. Anyway, to get on with it, sorry to digress, we have good science and the weight of the evidence is strong that there is a risk and children are uniquely vulnerable. If we wait for the FCC, it will be too late. Dr. Martin Blank, a Columbia University professor who studied cellular and DNA science for several decades, said that assurances that the antennas are within FCC guidelines is meaningless today, given that it is now widely understood that the methodology used to assess exposure levels only accounts for one type of risk from antennas. And we've seen in the science, I've read a lot of science that says that even you can see damage 100,000 times lower than what the FCC allows. So how that can be even close to protective, I just don't understand. I mean, maybe because the guidelines are from 1996, as someone mentioned, over 30 years old, and it's just not the world we live in today. As we saw with lead, mercury, sorry,
if you can just finish up.
Finish up, okay, sorry. As we saw with lead, mercury, asbestos, we should not wait until the evidence of harm is overwhelming. We have enough evidence to see that prudent steps are worth taking now. Over 20 countries have started minimizing risk to children. For example, France has passed the national legislation reducing exposure to children in schools, and the Israeli Ministry of Education has issued guidelines limiting Wi-Fi and cell phone use in schools, as you've heard today. And again, I can't thank you enough for bringing this, bringing us all here today and letting us have a voice to, nothing's more important than protecting our kids and having them go to school in a safe environment. Thank you.
Thank you.